Right, so I'm going to be talking about the ego and the superego tonight. I'm going to go live anyway, just for you, Michael.
And I think people really know the true hypnotic power of television. You know how it causes.
So, hope you're doing well, Mick. Always good to see you. I saw a nice photo of you today on Facebook, actually. I think, you got no top on, just all the tattoos and so on. Looking well. So, hello, Brenda. Always good to see Brenda. It's a little giveaway there. So, I'm going to be talking about the ego tonight, and I'm basically just capturing a bit of a live section for the YouTube shows. So, at some point, I'm going to switch off and go into presenter mode. But hopefully, hello, Deepak. How are you, my friend? You still alive then? Hopefully, if anyone's up and about and they want to jump in and talk about the ego and the superego, they're welcome to. But it's mostly about the ego anyway, because what I find, people are shouting out that you've got to shed your ego, you've got to shed your ego. And, I think they've never read anything by Freud. They couldn't have, because you need an ego, simple as that. And I'm wondering if there's anything sinister behind it. Like people talk about conspiracy theories in the government, regardless of whether it's a conspiracy or not. Well, it is one, in fact. We're being controlled in some way. And I'm not some hardcore, Illuminati nonsense person. What I mean is, in order to control, billions of people, you have to have some agenda in place. And even if it's not totally deliberate, whereby corporations jump on and try to mould us into these consumers, that could be a major factor also. Hello, cousin Jonathan. So, I'll be going on about that. In fact, what I may do is I'll just give it a few more minutes, then I'll go straight in to the presentation that I had planned. And in fact, it's a live show. If anyone wants to join in, if anyone wants to say anything, hello, John, jump in, go ahead. And in talking about ego, this guy wouldn't survive without one. And that's what I mean, John, ego's not a negative thing. You need an ego. That's something else. That's, whether it's narcissism or whatever. But I'm not accusing you of that, John, by the way. He's just a larger-than-life personality, always telling jokes, always messing about. And he wouldn't be able to do it, without his ego. And I'll explain why once I get into the story anyway, because I think there's a lot of confusion with the ego. People heard the term once, maybe it was incorrectly said, and it's become a really popular view. I mean, on a global scale, and people, when they see someone behaving very confidently, or someone who may be ill-mannered in presenting themselves, is loud and brash, people say that's the ego, and it's not. So I'm going to be explaining that at some length tonight. This is for John Blanchard. Brenda, you know John, don't you? Yeah, I assume you do. Or you know who he is, even if you weren't buddies anyway. Pretty well known in, I suppose, Essex, you could say. Not as much as me, but yeah, he was well known. And he was well liked, not as much as me, but in fact, I'm going to share a story with you. John, he's always been a good guy, as I said, and he's got really loud ego, he's big, he's larger than life, wears the loudest shirts as well, but he's got a heart which is just immeasurable, so big, and to him, it's a very natural thing, the heart. He, like me, I think, takes it for granted that you just have to be kind to people, you must be good to people, why wouldn't you? And a couple of years ago anyway, just before I was, going to set off, I went to live at my mum's again. I've been back to my mother's house 5 times in my life. And I bumped into John, and he invited me around his house. And we knew each other, since we were schoolboys, but never, buddies as such. But I think, I always liked him, and he definitely liked me. And he and I just, struck up a new friendship as 40, late 40s John, I think. And, I popped round, and John always had a drink and company, and his girlfriend was there, and we just used to have a good time, and that was it. And, we just play music, stand in the kitchen, drinking, was it scotch? Or yeah? And, just having a good time. And he could see the situation I was in, maybe more than I could, because for me it was just about me having a change of plan and going, right, I'm giving everything up and I'm going to go and do something new. And in that little period in between, I've given up everything, money and home and everything. I go and stay at my mum's, and I stayed there for about 7 months, 8 months, and maybe he could see that as well. And he was always in. Oh, see, you all right, mate? Yeah, I'm fine. Why? You sure you need 20 quid? And I think we can all extend that to people. And I don't mind taking it off of people, to be honest, because I do the same, and I just think that's the way it goes. So I'm not somebody who runs around asking people for stuff, and it's not nothing wrong with that. If someone's that way, they're that way. They'll have some success, they won't have success, and also they kind of develop a bit of a bad reputation for not working hard. And I'm not that kind of guy. Hello, Angie. So I'm going to go off into the ego thing. And let me just proceed that one more time with what I'm going to talk about, what I'm doing. People keep saying that we have to shed our egos. We don't. People don't know what an ego is. Now that's the accusation that I'm levelling, and I'm going to explain a little. I'm not going to go too technical, but I'm going to explain what the ego is and why we need an ego. And I think I'm going to change your minds tonight. So, hello, Ryan. Hello, Lee. Right. Okay. So. I'm going to do this for the show, which I'm putting on YouTube one more time. So I'm going to do a little leader, and then I'm going to get a little bit serious as I try and pull out what's in my head. Let's do this. OBG.